Okay, good evening, everyone. It's 7 o'clock, so I'll call to order the regular monthly meeting, July meeting of the Wilton Town Board. We'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Supervisor Johnson.
Here.
Councilman Stryker.
Here.
Councilman Bogardus.
Present.
Deputy Supervisor Lamp.
Here.
Councilman McEachran.
Here. Okay, we always begin the meeting with our public comment period. We do have one person that has signed up to speak. That's Eric Rosenberg. Eric, if you would step up here, your name, and once again, the time limit is 3 minutes.
Correct. Eric Rosenberg, 16 Crawl Lane. Is there something you guys can do about the heat?
We can do a lot, but I don't know.
Okay. Anyway, last year when the Foxgrove development came before the planning board, a lot of people were hearing things, and I met with Mike Dovis and Ryan to understand what the conservation subdivision was all about. So I wanted to learn, and I went back and spoke to people, and I came to understand. And I was at the meeting last month of the planning board when they made their presentation. I thought it was an excellent presentation. I think they're working very hard to meet the needs of the town. What I would suggest, and I'd like to make a few suggestions to the board, I think this idea of the density that's going on is confusing to people. They're not going to understand. I know they're not going to understand because they're asking me. I would like to suggest that maybe on our Facebook page or even in the emails that go out, that we start letting people know this is a really big development for Wilton, and I think people want to understand, and I think it would behoove you guys to avoid confusion by doing that. I would also like to suggest that there's the issue of the parkland that seems to be coming up before the town tonight. This is an opportunity, I think, again, to reach out to the community and get people involved and asking the town what they would like to see happen with that land in terms of what passive, active, whatever. So I would ask this board to maybe set up a special town, I don't know the procedure, but a special town meeting, a town hall meeting, whatever it is, and use this opportunity to reach out to the residents of Wilton and ask them what they'd like to see there. Anyway, I think it's a great project, and I think it'll be great for Wilton. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, next item, number 4, is we have the minutes pending from our June meeting. They've all been distributed, the minutes have been distributed to all of you. Is there a motion to approve those minutes?
Make a motion, we approve last month's minutes.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any requests for discussion on them, or requests for changes or amendments? Okay, hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Okay, next is Linda Baker and the Silver Buffalo Award, Boy Scouts of America. Tonight, the town wants to recognize and congratulate Linda Baker, lifelong Wilton resident, for receiving the Silver Buffalo Award, the highest national honor of the Boy Scouts of America. And I just want to move up here, and I would ask Linda to come up if you would.
It's kind of like the ceremony where they present it with a little flat on the floor, right?
This is very special. The award was presented to Linda in Dallas, Texas, by the current national president, James Curley, and the keynote speaker was none other than former First Lady Laura Bush. Now, I didn't know what the Silver Buffalo Award was, but I soon found out, and it was a very prestigious award. The Silver Buffalo Award honors individuals who have given noteworthy service to youth on a national or international level. Previous recipients include presidents of the United States, astronauts, civic leaders, notable sports and entertainment figures, as well as scouting volunteers. Just to name a few that received this award is former President Ronald Reagan, Barack Obama, astronauts John Glenn, and Neil Armstrong, sports athletes Hank Aaron and Ernie Banks, and then in the entertainment field, the legendary Wilton. We're here in a very Linda is the only Saratoga County resident ever to receive the award, and only the second recipient from the Albany-based Twin Rivers Council, which stretches from Piney Water to Columbia County. Linda is currently Vice President of the program for the Northeast region on the Twin Rivers Executive Committee and is committee chair for Wilton Boy Scout Troop 24. To support you. Also, she was recently assigned a new challenge. I'm sure it's a challenge, helping develop staff for 2019 World Scout Jamboree in West Virginia, which involves working with Scout leaders and nations around the globe. Previously, she has been a staff member of the 6th National Scout Jamboree and 1 World Scout Jamboree. And the town wants to recognize you. I'm very proud to present to you this plaque on behalf of the town board and all the residents of the town board.
I do need to tell you that what really always means the most is what's happening locally. That's where scouting really happens. We can do all kinds of things at a national level, developing resources and promoting scouting and all of that sort of thing. But scouting really happens right here. And I'm especially proud of our Wilton troop and the Wilton pack and then all of the people who have been part of scouting who are with us here today. It's wonderful to recognize all the difference that all of you make in the lives of our young people. So I feel very honored to receive this from the town of Wilton. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, next, which is going to be a very hard act to follow, is the dedication of potential open space on the Forest Grove subdivision. Joe, you want to talk about that?
Sure. Good evening, Joe Danimal, the Environmental Design Partnership, here on behalf of Forest Grove LLC in their application for a proposed conservation subdivision on lands located off Putnam Lane in the town of Wilton. The project itself sits in, again, north of Jones Road, extends all the way adjacent to the northway up to Scout Road. Approximately 550 acres of land make up the entire project. What we're here tonight for is we want to talk about the potential dedication of roughly 380 acres of open space that will be dedicated to the town for both passive and active uses. So let's step back a little, just talk briefly about the subdivision itself, because as mentioned, this is a big subdivision for the town of Wilton. But we also believe this is going to be the premier subdivision, not only in Saratoga County, but more likely the Capital District. We've involved national design consultants in the design and the layout of this project, as well as
And what we have come up with is a conservation design that includes multiple housing types. There's up to 6 different housing types, all within this one community. We've identified them as neighborhoods A through E on the project. We have some townhouse developments, our community neighborhoods, we have some small maintenance-free residential neighborhoods, similar to what you see, say, at Smithbridge Road. Then we increase in size from there, going up to larger lots all the way up until we reach some large estate lots that are multiple acres of land as you extend north into the project. Throughout the community as well, we're proposing within the open space areas about 3.5 miles of a paved trail system. We're also looking at incorporating some more active uses into that trail system, such as potentially an exercise trail associated with that, where there's stations, people do their running, they stop, exercise at a spot before they run another quarter mile to, say, another station. The community itself will also have a community center with a pool that will be owned and maintained by the HOA. All the residents within this community will be able to use that facility as well. So switching back to the open space. The open space, again, as I said, it's roughly 380 acres of land. The trail system I just mentioned, the 3.5 miles of paved trail that has a fitness trail associated with it, would all be on land that would be dedicated to the town, and all residents within the town of Wilton would be able to use that trail system. Just to give everybody a scale on 550 acres and what we're doing to preserve some very nice open space within this community. This map over here represents in green the 550 acres of land where this community is going. If you see, there's a cutout directly in the center of this community. That is existing town-owned property. What we're proposing to do with our trail network is not only develop trails within our land, but also extend those trails into the existing town's parkland with their permission. Then ultimately, from this point in the community, you see this blue line that extends up through the site. This would be a passive trail, similar or developed on existing grade or logging roads. If anyone's been on the site, I know it's been around a while and many people have gone over this site, these roads and these logging roads are very passable. We look to grade them off a little bit, turn them over to the town for a passive trail. Now what that does is it takes you up to Scout Road, ultimately connecting into other open space areas of the town, the Wilton Wildlife Preserve, and some of the state land. And what the great thing about this community is, when we develop this trail system on existing grade here, the paved trail system here, and extend that paved trail system up to the New York State's Bridge at Heron Lane, that gives the ability of everybody from eastern Wilton coming from all those open space areas to come down into the community, and ultimately through some additional trail extensions that may occur from the town, get into Gavin Park. Vice versa, all the residents you see on the west side of the Northway would be able to gain access, walking access to this location, get on these trails and access all of those pristine open space areas within the town of Wilton, which we see that as a substantial benefit to all residents within this community. A couple things about the open space. Just do want to point out before I switch. This yellow line, we have this green area and we have this tan colored area. There are two different types of open space that we're looking to dedicate to the community. A portion of it would be somewhat restricted in what uses could occur in there. And I think the board will appreciate that within this new residential community, we don't want to have active recreational uses such as soccer fields, baseball fields, sport fields being developed in these people's immediate backyards. So what we are proposing is that all the parkland south of this line, roughly, if I use a rough number, maybe 200 acres of dedication, would remain as passive use for trails. There would be limitations on the amount of clear cutting that could occur on that property, minimal if any. That would also protect the rear yards of these new residents to the town of Wilton. Here again is the overall map of the community. This yellow line is in the same location, again, showing the 280 acres below that line. That would be the restricted open space added to the existing 40 acres of open space with the town. And then north of that line, roughly 145, 150 acres of open space that the town can do whatever they deem appropriate for that land. Some of the suggestions that have started to come forward, and we're trying to work out those details, but ultimately it's up to the town what they'd like to do there is potential of maybe a mountain bike trail system in this location that people will be able to get onto, again, by crossing these trails. The community members, both on the east side of the Northway and the new community members over here, would be able to access those trails. But again, as suggested by one of the residents, maybe a focus group on exactly what gets developed and implemented up in this area is the more appropriate way to go. Ultimately, what we're looking for from this board tonight is to consider the dedication of roughly 370, 380 acres of land in exchange for a 10% density bonus within this conservation subdivision. With that, if you have any questions, I can try and answer them for you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Questions by the board?
Actually, I do have one. I know at the planning board, you had mentioned about at the northern yellow line there, you had mentioned a no cut or limited intrusion. Did you come up with a amount of space that you would not like people to come down to? Because you're talking about you don't want parks in the backyard. Have you come up with an idea of how much space between the backyard and usable land that the town can use?
Yeah, so essentially the line we developed is this yellow line in which we would develop passive uses. That line is 500 feet to the rear of any residential.
That line is your ideal buffer zone.
Correct.
Okay.
I say buffer again. It's more focused on soccer fields.
Right. Because I know we had
active uses and parking lots developed in those areas.
Right.
We really want to keep it just down to a trail system.
Okay. Yeah, I know we had kind of discussed that, and I asked for specific. So that is the yellow line is your maximum line as far as no cut and stuff.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay. Good.
Minimal cut.
Minimal cut. Right.
Minimal. Yeah.
Yeah. This,
Again, I think what we really want to keep everybody from doing is
It
have.
sounds like your goals are what our goals are,
yeah.
and the goals of the community.
That's reasonable.
Yeah, it fits right into our open space
So it fits like
pathways
a
plan,
glove.
where we want connectivity from Camp Saratoga through the county forest lands. This will now bring us down to Jones Road, and then the last connection piece is getting from Jones Road, across that bridge into Gavin Park, and that's our ultimate goal. So this is a big part of, it's a big missing link to get down to Jones Road, so I think I see it as a great benefit to the community.
Come at a better time. Thank you.
I have a couple questions. You mentioned paved trails. That would be the responsibility of the town of Wilton?
Yeah.
That would, yes, we'd be dedicating those trails along with the parkland to the town of Wilton.
So who would be paving the roads, paving them
The
originally?
installation and construction of the trails would be, the cost would be borne by the developer that's building the community.
And then we would
And we
maintain it
just
after
do
that?
maintenance.
And they would be seasonal, it wouldn't be plowing or anything in the wintertime.
Totally up to this
You know,
board.
maybe the northern trails we could connect with, we already groomed trails in the Wilton Wildlife Preserve and Park that we could continue and maybe groom some trails in there as well. But as far as the paved trails, I think that would be more of a seasonal basis. I don't think we would be in there plowing them in the wintertime. But that's my idea of it. So I think what we're looking for tonight is just to give them an intent that we have interest in taking the dedication so they can move forward with the planning board.
I'll make a motion, we accept the dedication.
I think there's a motion.
All right, I have to agree with Eric, it is a well-designed plan. I sat in on some of the pre-planning for it, and concerns and everything were addressed that I had. I always have concerns about things.
I think it's a different subject. I'm at different.
It's a planning issue.
We're all good?
Yeah.
All right, so at this point, I'd like to make a motion to to declare the town board's intent to accept the open space dedicated from the Forest Grove Conservation Subdivision and offer a 10% density bonus to the applicant contingent upon town's council and town review of all land dedication documents and subdivision approval.
Second.
Okay, the motion, second. Is there any further discussion on the matter or questions of Joe? Is there's a question of Joe from, Larry, you got a question?
I was thinking because this board some months ago passed a bicentennial plan, and which included a number of items in there, and this now means that all the things that would have been down the road piecemeal and done by whatever way we could get it done, BOCES, the town highway department, whatever, to get to Gavin Park, now becomes a done deal. It's done and it's ready, it'll be ready to go. I had a question, and that's all I had to say about that. So it's already in a town plan. I did have a comment back here that when the question came up about the maintenance, they said I was the shoveler.
Larry, you do everything else. Why not?
I believe he's been doing that for years as it is.
We'll get you a hand shovel, Larry. So, anyway, thank you, so.
Could I ask a question?
Sure.
Is there a paved trail that will go out to Jones Road for bikes or path?
Yes, if you,
That's the red one, correct? The red
I
trail.
didn't catch where Jones connects with it.
so Jones Road runs here, cuts down, goes over the railroad bridge down to
Yeah.
50. So all the red and the purple.
How about the Scout Road then? I'm
The
sorry.
Scout Road will have a
Not a
primitive
paved.
trail.
Not a paved.
That would not be a paved trail.
My only comment on that is a lot of road bike riders ride Jones over to Stewart to 50, cross and go down Ingersoll. Really bad intersection to get down. And if this somehow connected over to Edie, they could ride a bike on a trail to Edie, much nicer to cross 50 at that intersection.
We're working on that intersection,
Yeah.
that particular intersection. We got plans on that. Or I'm certain it's been brought up to.
So, all right, we have-
Question about the paved trails. The paved trails, the red, is circulating throughout the development. Is the green part all part of the land that's going to be dedicated to the town?
Essentially, yes, the property lines are here,
Okay.
but the majority of what you see in green is all being dedicated to the town.
Okay. My only concern would be that in making sure the homeowners' documents that it's clear that the residents can't complain as, you know, people who don't live there start coming through the community. You know, you never know what happens with homeowners associations and everything.
yeah.
So that would just be my only concern, and make that very clear to people who are going to buy there that this is going to be there.
Yeah, Pat?
The trail idea is really great and enables members of Wilton to be able to ride bikes on them. But as you said, and you mentioned, getting the roads, the connectivity to Gavin Park and making those roads safe, they're just not safe. So maybe there's a way we could use mitigation fees or something to really make that area, I mean, all of Jones Road is kind of dicey for bikers.
Yeah.
But it would be great if we could, you know, because people would love to go over there and ride bikes, but it needs to be safe. It needs to be safe for kids to do it.
Yeah, and that's the last piece, and I'm going to have Ryan mention, because it's kind of connected to this, and
Well, there's actually two pieces that actually have been, the first piece we'll talk about is Scout Road. I've had Larry working very diligently for a county grant to make connection on Scout Road from the north end of this subdivision that would bring it over to the Camp Saratoga area on Scout Road. So that's a county grant that he's been working on for free. Thanks, Larry. And
That's why he's getting a shovel.
I need to get him an axe.
so the second grant we're seeking at the town is a very large grant, multi-million-dollar grant for making a connection from this subdivision on Jones Road near the emergency squad, crossing the Jones Road Bridge over the Northway, and trying to get to Beverly Street in Gap Park. It's actually, it's going to be a multi-use pathway, 10-foot wide is planned. So we're seeking that. It's a competitive grant across the state. They have money for its transportation alternative grant, so it's only for those purposes, so we're seeking that grant.
Yeah, and there is a match involved with that, and that's when you mentioned mitigation fees, that's where that match would come from if we were successful in the grant. And then there's one other, well, it kind of connected, we already received a grant for that intersection of Jones, Ingersoll.
Right, we've been working on another project at the Jones Road. We've known, it's an issue on Jones Road, Route 50, Ingersoll, and Old Gick Road, that area is traffic intersection. So we've been working as a town, we've done a large traffic study, looking at alternative means for, freeing up the flow of traffic through there. And, right now, working with CDTC, they're doing a technical assistance program, so they're reviewing, we just received notifications, they're gonna review that study to look at it and, move forward with that and seeking funding. That's probably a much larger, state, federal funding.
About what they would do.
The best,
roundabout.
The most efficient method would be dual roundabouts through North Whalen Lane. That's the most efficient mode.
And safest.
Your cars coming, trying to get
It's the flow of traffic. They're the safest means of
They're the
intersection.
safest,
Yep.
safest means out there.
But, yeah, but that's a DOT decision to make as a state road, and so we've got them involved, and they're working with us, and so we need to come to a solution on that intersection, and we're working very diligently on that, and hopefully that will come forward soon. So I just wanted to make you aware that all these things are work in progress, but...
What's the probability of something like that happening then?
It's very
It's
likely.
high.
I mean,
I think it's very likely.
yeah, if the town, obviously the state looks more favorably upon these things, if the town is willing to contribute funds into the program.
And the
So,
guy's a buddy of mine
Yeah.
that
So
designs them.
that's what they want to,
Something like that's going to probably be $10 million, so, right? To do all that?
3-4 million for the dual roundabout.
For that,
That's the
for the
estimate.
state, Ingersoll Road and Jones and...
Yeah. Probably.
There's a question back here.
I have a statement as a former DOT employee. Well, if DOT is going to be involved, which they have to be because it's Route 50, they're going to want to get federal funds to do this job. And under the present administration, that likelihood is minimal.
Well, we're going to make our best effort to do that, and,
So keep in touch with your federal people.
yeah, okay. Thank you, sir.
Just like to make one more statement, just so that it's out there, is that this project, between traffic improvements and contributions and mitigation fees to the town, in all will have about $1 million to $1.5 million in traffic improvements and mitigation coming to the town of Wilton.
We're halfway there.
And
Not all for that.
And that's by, that's by the contractor himself.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's very nice.
Joanne, you had a question?
The traffic study that was done, did it really come back no effect or no measures? I mean, how could it?
The traffic study came back that the 310 units does have minimal impacts to that existing intersection. The volume of traffic from this community is somewhat incidental to the existing volumes that already occur at that intersection.
But that's the planning board will be addressing all those traffic,
I think it's a good question.
yeah. So, anyway, we have, as far as the land dedication, we have a motion and a second to move forward with the intent to accept those lands as designated in the plan.
So just ask that the board would need to continue moving forward.
Yeah, and we do have a positive recommendation from the planning board to accept, or go forward with accepting this land. It was presented to the planning board at its last meeting, and in your packet there is a letter of recommendation from Chairman Dovas. So Given that, we have a motion and a second, we'll take a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? So moved.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And the builder.
We look forward to that project moving forward.
Give you like 4. You got a couple of Sweat when you walk outside, the thermostat broke out there.
I think tomorrow I fixed it.
We're working tonight, so I won't know.
Okay, next, do any board members have committee reports? If not, I just want to mention Saturday is the Bicentennial Park Fest. It's going to be a great event. It starts at 11 o'clock on Saturday at Gavin Park. There are all sorts of events, entertainment, food, rides, all that stuff. It's typically a very big event. It's even bigger this year when we have a whole separate bicentennial area with a separate bicentennial entertainment stage, reenactments. There's the program, I think, in fact, you can pick up out at the desk if you're interested, but I encourage everybody to come. It should be a great time.
And cooler weather.
Yes.
Fireworks.
It couldn't
Mania now.
have played out any better. A couple of years ago, we put a lot of money and effort in planning this event, and a couple of years ago, it was tremendous rain, thunderstorms, the bands couldn't play, it was dangerous, and we ended up canceling the event, and it's, when you put that much money in planning, it's hard, so we're very grateful to the weather forecast. Jeff, Controllers Report.
Okay, the first one, the budget transfers and amendments that require town board approval. Any questions?
Jeff, the amendments, that's for the drainage and all that work that had emergency work that had to be done on the road collapse.
Correct. Philly Morris did most of that work. Yeah.
I'll make a motion to accept the transfers and amendments.
Amendments and transfers.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? So moved.
Okay, first one, personnel. First one's informational, really. Pat Brennan has filed her retirement papers effective tomorrow. Today was her last day of work at the town of Wilton after 28 years of service. Can't say enough about her. We had a great retirement party for her last year, and very dedicated and loyal employee, so she is going to be missed.
She's got to be loyal if she stuck around another year after the party.
Can't we reject that retirement papers? No.
Well, you could, but the number B wouldn't be too happy.
Yeah. Pat's been great, and we're all going to miss her, especially you, Jeff.
Absolutely. So leads me into B. I would like to appoint Lisa Muller to the vacant bookkeeper position effective Tuesday, July 10th, starting at a grade 8 with a base rate of $22.52 an hour.
I'll make a motion, we let Jeff appoint Lisa Muller to that vacant bookkeeper position.
Second it.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? So moved.
C.
See, I told you she was loyal.
She's coming back, I hope. I'm requesting to hire Pat back to help train Lisa in the new position.
Raise the charm.
I'd like to keep her at the same rate of pay she was making when she left, which was $28.18 an hour. This is going to be on an as-needed basis for no more than 6 to 8 weeks. So, I mean, it could be like 3 hours a day, 4 hours a day for the first, 2 weeks, and then probably just, 2 days a week after that. So I don't really think, Lisa's a very quick learner, so I don't think Pat, it's got to come in that much, but I'd like to bring her back if the town board lets me.
But I think Lisa's also gonna say, that train Mark is gonna hire a replacement.
Correct.
And train that one person as well.
Correct.
That sounds like a good plan, a transition.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
I just can't make the motion.
I make a
Just
motion
fire.
to hire Pat Brennan, part-time training.
I'll second that.
That's good.
Do we have a motion and a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? So moved.
The last one on personnel has to do with Mark Marino. He's passed the Recreation Administrator exam. He scored high enough so that we can appoint him to this position that the town board would like. To appoint him, we could make it effective today, July 5th, 2018.
I'll put forth a motion to hire Mark Marino.
He's hired, isn't he?
We'll appoint him to his position effective July 5th.
Probation.
Yes.
That's with a year's probation.
Yeah, you can, yes, you can.
Yeah, with all civil service positions, they're subject to at least a 1-year probation.
Okay, and that's part of this.
Yeah, any appointment off the civil service list, for no matter what title, comes with a 1-year probation period. So did you second the motion?
Sure, I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I abstain.
Abstain or opposed?
Abstain.
John, you were a yes.
I was an aye. With the 1-year probation.
Yes, so you're a yes.
Second part?
Yes.
Yeah, we'll review this in another year.
Yep.
Or 6 months or whatever it takes, but the part's gotta start running smoother.
Okay, so, motion passes with one abstention? Is that what it is? Okay.
Okay, next are the internal reviews, as required by town law, section 123, an annual accounting of all town offices that handle monies is required by the town. These reviews have been completed. There have been no irregularities or discrepancies noticed in any of the samples of the departments. So that's more informational, which leads me into the second one. The review of the court, it's required to have a separate resolution, so we can send that to the New York State Uniform Justice Court System. So we need to have a resolution for that.
So we need a motion just for to accept the,
His review.
Just for the town court
just for B,
review.
right?
So basically,
Just
you need
be.
a motion to allow you to review the records.
No, we just need a resolution stating that the review was done of the Justice Court and that there is no irregularities or findings.
That's too much for me to recover.
Just say yes.
You could also make a resolution to accept the comptroller's report of his review of the court system.
Make a resolution, we accept the controller's report.
Second it.
Motion and second, discussion. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? So moved.
That's it.
That completes the agenda. Is there any other business that any of you want to bring forward? No? Motion to adjourn? Motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Is there a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Good night, everyone.